Hey, it's Mylan. Do you all get annoyed when I keep announcing myself? Bloopers moment. So, I was thinking about what topic could I talk about today on the V blog, and it reminds me of one of my blog posts I made in the Single Black Female Cooking Chronicles on my Tumblr. Where do the good girls go? Where do the good girls go? So I consider myself a good girl for many reasons, but we can dive into that a little bit later in the conversation. But far as just dating in 2K19, it's definitely been interesting to say the least. And so let's dive into it. So, I will say one of the most frustrating things with dating in this day and age has been definitely trying to get to know multiple people. It's like I have to retain so much information, like your name, your birthday, your background. It's like you're constantly like, it's like speed dating, like in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And this gets so tiring. Like, dude, I'm sick of telling people my favorite color and my sign. But I mean, to get to where you want to, be hopefully a successful relationship, you have to like put yourself out there. And I remember back in 2014, my last paper in undergrad, I graduated as a psychology major, and I took a self-help class as my last class, and I learned a lot about myself. And so my research topic on myself was to figure out why I had a fear of rejection. And so I know that get real deep real quick, but I'll kind of give you kind of a synopsis of like my study and what I found. So pretty much, I had to identify the problem of like, I have a fear of rejection. And it's just because I put myself out there a lot of times when I was younger. I would say through my early 20s to my teens, I always used to, express interest in a guy, and then I get all the way shut down, friend zone, like no go, do not pass go, do not collect the $200. So it's like I was afraid to put myself out there. Like when I would go out with my friends, I kind of just be a wallflower, like stand in the corner. Like I don't like approaching people, and so I did a research project pretty much to kind of see if I could put myself out there more. And so my friends, Janae and Emily, we all got dressed up one night in the summer nights in Bowling Green, Ohio. And they like really made me approach guys because I don't like approaching guys. Like, the shit is scary. So after my little research project, I made a Tinder account. That was a huge mistake and a regret in my lifetime, multiple times. But anywho, so I made a Tinder account, and I was just seeing who I can match with. I was sending messages first, like really trying to figure out, can I really press past this fear that I have of, no, this is not gonna work. You're fun, you're nice and all, but you're not my type. So I really was trying to put myself out there. We would go to the bars. I would try to walk up to somebody first hand and try to get to know them and exchange numbers. So that was very, very scary. Like my heart was like beating outside of my chest, like very, very nervous. I just don't like approaching people. So I feel like from around 2014 to like after I was in my relationship, I was like, I could put myself out there a little bit more, or I'm just gonna wait for my potential husband to kind of like find me in my house. Like, are you gonna break into my window and be like, hey, I want to marry you? Like, sure, bet, let's go. So I started to put myself out there a little bit more in the more recent years of like 2018, 2017 ish. And so I think I haven't been successful because, the blog name is Single Black Female. But I have learned a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about pretty much, what I will settle for, what I won't settle for, what I'm looking for, what I'm not looking for, deal breakers and red flags. And it also gave me insight to myself to know that I'm very flawed as well as an individual. And I feel like dating other people, like just from different backgrounds, will bring that out of you. And so I can tell you about one story. So I guess this is going to turn into a story time moment. So let's go. So I was talking to this guy, and um, I met him off of a dating app, and I use a series of dating apps. That would be a whole nother topic of discussion. That's probably going to be my next podcast. But I met him on a dating app, and he sought me out, and we started texting and talking. We had a lot of things in common. Kind of was like a different type than what I'm usually used to, but I didn't want to like put myself in a box, so I definitely just took a chance. And so our first date was the movies, which you heard in my last podcast or video blog that I hate movies as first dates, but whatever. So we went to the movies and everything was cool. And then I was like, all right, maybe he's not that bad. Maybe I can stay out, like get out of my comfort zone and date and see where this goes. Here comes the more interesting part of the story. So after the fact, like a day later, he was just like, yeah, blah blah blah. You're really dope. You're a really cool girl. I really like what I see, and I'm just like, yeah, like you're pretty cool too as a gentleman. Like you pay for the movies, all this, that, and the third. Bought my popcorn. I love my movie popcorn. But he was like, so do you have social media? And I was like, well, yeah, like I have my Instagram and all that. And he was like, well, what's your Instagram name? So I provided him my Instagram name, and then I didn't hear from him for like a nice little moment. You saw I kind of got my bracelet stuck in my shirt. Mylan bloopers. So I gave him my Instagram name, and so finally, like a few hours later, I kind of hit him up like, hey, what's going on? Like, did you like what you see? What's going on here? And he pretty much dismissed me and said, and I quote, because of who I am as a person, I cannot date you. So I am going to say that one more time. He said, because of who he was as a person, he could not date me. So this is me staring on my phone, probably with the Blues Clues face, like, so because of who you are, you cannot date me. He is a person in the entertainment business. So I really needed more clarification because I was dumbfounded at this point. So I asked for clarification. I was like, so what do you mean by this? And his response was, I have an image to uphold and a brand that I have to protect. So that's what I mean by saying, because of who I am, I can't mess with you. So you're probably thinking like, that's a very asshole response, right? I was definitely at that exact same point because I was just like, what the entire hell? But, okay. So I really took it hard because it really placed me back into my stages of being afraid of rejection. Like my fear of rejection, it definitely kicked in because it was just like, am I not good enough? Am I ugly? What's going on here? And then he follows up with, you're just a very, very good person. You're a cool girl. You're very pretty. This and this and that. Is nothing personal. It's business. Meanwhile, still hitting me up. So I go through jacked up things like that. I have more stories that I will tell during story time, but it just makes me wonder like, where does one go to be in search of someone solid, like someone that is going to be attentive, someone who is going to communicate effectively, someone who's going to be consistent. Like consistency is one of my biggest things I look for. And so, where does one find that? Like, where do you find a very solid, significant other? Now I know there's gonna be someone like, you shouldn't find someone, they will find you. That whole cliche statement. Yeah, yeah, I get it. I hear that. I've heard that. I'm actually sick of hearing that. So it's just like, what else do I need to do? So if you all know where the good girl should go and where you met your significant other, or if you have some suggestions other than these trash dating apps, definitely write a comment below because let a sister know. I am just kind of over dating, especially in 2019. I have more stories that I will share with you all, so be on the lookout for those. That brings me to another thing. Like I'm like very, very shy. So story time again. So when I was younger, it was this one guy. He worked at this mall kiosk and I was obsessed with him. Like I adored this man. And my friends one day was trying to set me up with him. And you know what I did? I ran away. I ran away. I ran in the mall away from the kiosk so I wouldn't have to face him. That's just sad.